You're watching Dream Big with Zhanna, inspiring you to reignite, refire, and refuel your life. And today, in this special episode, we're going to be talking about manifesting, and not only manifesting, but secrets to money manifesting with my special guest, Thuy Tran. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Yeah.
Yeah, sure did. Perfect.
Okay. Well, welcome, Thuy, to the show. And let me just introduce you just with a few lines from your official bio to everybody who is seeing you for the first time. Thuy is amazing. So let me just tell you briefly what she is all about. Thuy Tran is a master manifestor, intuitive mentor for life and business, as well as a certified energy practitioner. Her coaching largely focusing on mindset, energy work, law of attraction, and tried and true business strategies. I love that. So she helps clients to break through limiting beliefs and fears in order to connect her clients to their core professional and life purpose. I love everything about that. And since I know you personally, I know every time interacting with Thuy is a real joy because she is who she is. And I try to bring, actually, not try, I'm always bringing people who I truly believe in and I truly support the work that they do. So Thuy, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me. I know we've been trying to connect to do this for a while now,
For a while, but we are finally, see, we believe in perfect timing. So it's happening. It's President's Day, by the way. So yeah, we're going to kick it off with money manifesting techniques. So my first question to you is, what is manifesting to you in general? Not specifically to money manifesting, but in general. Some people, let me give you like the preface. Some people are afraid of that word because they think it's too woo-woo. So what's your definition of that?
Honestly, we're manifesting all the time. That's the thing. I think people don't understand is that we're always creating things into our reality. We're always manifesting, so it's not a word that I was familiar with until I got into really learning and studying it, but that's the biggest misnomer is that people think that they're not manifesting, or just because they don't understand the word that they're not manifesting, but they are. We're doing it all the time. So it's a matter how do you create into your reality what you really want?
I love that definition. You just said it. Create into your reality. That's what manifesting is. I looked it up, and the word manifest comes from the Latin language, which really makes it, the literal translation of the part of the word would be make public. So how do you make public, make the evidence of whatever you have or do or be in visible and seen for you in this tangible
reality. I love
reality.
that. Make public. I love that.
Make public. I love your definition too. So creating into reality. Now, question, how did you, have you always been manifesting, since you were born, or did you was it the process? So what's the backstory?
Well, I didn't okay, so what I teach everyone is that we're always manifesting whether we know it or not, but I didn't actually start studying manifesting until probably about 2012 or so. And I had just left my corporate job. And but even before that, I remember the book The Secret, right? That was the big thing, right? And I remember reading the book and thinking, oh, there's no way in the world you can think things and it becomes into reality. I thumbed through that book really fast and I nearly threw it across the room because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely not. You have to work hard. You have to, all the beliefs that we are brought up believing about how to manifest and how to make money and how to create a life, was all around not just thinking things and it showing up. Right. And so I want to say, that was probably early mid 2000s. I read that book, and then by the time I left my corporate job, it came back around. And I just remember thinking, this time I watched the movie. Maybe the movie will make it feel a little bit better, right? And so I watched the movie, and I was definitely a bit more open to it at that point. And I just remember like the scenes in the movie where it's like this energetic, they're showing this energy field going out when you think your thoughts. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I feel like at that time I was probably a little bit more open to it as well. And then and then Abraham Hicks came into my world. I started listening to some Abraham stuff. And I just remember at the time, I'm like, you know what, super detached, like, well, you know what, let's give this a go. Like the idea, because the one video that on YouTube that I listened to was Abraham talking about this guy manifesting checks in the mail, you know, and I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. There's no way you can just think and visualize and have checks in the mail show up, you know? And I'm like, whatever, I'm not attached. Let's just do this, you know? And it really kind of I'm one of those people like, challenge accepted. You're gonna give me a challenge? Okay, you know? Let's experiment and let's see if this works, right? And so that's what I did. I started visualizing checks in the mail and just thinking, it's absurd. Like this day and age, who sends checks? Like, I don't know who would send me a check in the mail. It makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
And it probably, you know, and Abraham talks about you visualize for 68 seconds, you know, at least 17 seconds. And the longer you do it, the 68-second mark is the key. And so I just sat there and I visualized like checks coming in the mail, and I would go to the mailbox and I'd open it up and I'm like, oh, a check in the mail, maybe this works, you know? And so I was having these, if you will, like visualizing or like these fun little daydreams, right, about checks in the mail. And I probably did it for about a week. And then at that time, I had actually, when I left my corporate job, they gave me a severance and, you know, a severance. And so what I actually ended up getting was my unemployment checks.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and so being the really logical person, I'm like, yeah, but those were going to come anyways. If I didn't visualize, it would have come anyways. I could have rationalized it away. But up until that point, I actually had a whole bunch of back and forth with the unemployment agents, like unemployment, you know, and like having so much problems with my application and the going back and forth. And all of a sudden, without doing much, it just cleared up and the check started coming. So there was like, I'm like, okay, I'll give that credit, whatever.
Yeah. But did you, I have a question about that. Two questions, actually. What exactly did you do in the corporate world, if you don't mind sharing? And number two, when you were visualizing the checks, did you visualize specific checks from specific place or specific person or organization? No? So what's the tip on that?
No? Yeah. So the tip that I teach all my clients these days, all my students these days, is visualize it in a whole bunch of different ways, right? Because that's the biggest block, right? Is people think that you have to have it a certain way. But what I know to be true these days is that what we think, God, the universe has a bigger plan for us, you know, like whatever your higher power is, whatever you call your higher power is, it's infinitely more creative than we are. And so I, you know, these days I'll visualize like my path, like how I want things to happen. Like I'd like to see a client come to me through my funnel, whatever, you know, I'd visualize it one way, but I always, at the end of the visualization, I'll say, okay, universe, now have it show up that way or something better. And it always shows up something better. In the last couple of years of my business, I literally haven't really had a funnel or much of anything, you know, in the online space, but people just either show up through referral or this or that, you know, it just shows up in something better. And so, so that would be the biggest tip, is that, and then do different visualizations. Like I remember when I visualized getting a car, right? Or I ended up manifesting a free Mercedes.
I know, I watched the video about that, but may I go back a little bit? And
absolutely.
I still want to know about you specifically, about those checks that you got in the mail. Did you see the number on the check when you were visualizing the checks in the mail? No. And you didn't know where exactly the check is going to come from? Just general, like just check.
General.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about the feeling, right? So I visualized being really surprised and happy when I got it, because that's the key of manifesting, right? We're going for the feeling, right? So I visualized the feeling. I didn't know how much I wasn't attached to how much, because that's a big key to manifesting, is being detached, right? So they showed up, and that's, you know, that's what ended up showing up from the employment agency. So by the time, so here was my test, right? I was like, okay, great. When my unemployment runs out, am I still going to get checks? And random checks will still come in for class action settlements, lawsuits that I'm part of that I had no idea that I'm part of. So now I still get those checks of like $4 here, $10 here, these random class action lawsuits. And, I was married. I was married at the time too. And during that year, my father-in-law sent me a check for my birthday. He sent me money for my birthday. I was like, who sends a 40-year-old woman, a 30, someone in her late 30s, a check for her birthday, but I got one and I hadn't seen a check for my birthday in years. So I was just open to however it would show up, and it still shows up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love that. I love that. And in the corporate job, so what did you do? Did you do accounting? What was it?
I was an assistant controller. So I, for a rental car company. So I oversaw a multi-million-dollar organization, and I did everything that like a business manager would do, from the accounting side of it to the team, to the sales, and to, I helped with the sales team and the, all of it. Like literally I had my hands dipped in everything.
I'm just, in the reason I asked, it's fascinating, and I didn't know the answer to it, because a lot of people think that they have to lock themselves up in this one box and it becomes their identity, but you completely switched. You were open to playing, and here you are doing the business and not the corporate, and having more freedom and loving what you do. So yeah, well, going back to Manifesting the Mercedes, I actually, when I watched the movie, I realized that we have at least one more thing in common. You love SUVs. I drive SUVs too. And when you said that your ideal car, you wanted a Porsche. No, Porsche. Was it the Porsche SUV? Yeah, on the vision board. You said that you had the Porsche on the vision board. You didn't get it yet, right? But it's like, it's also my dream car. I'm not driving it yet. And I also, just like you, I don't care about the cars. It's just the way they look. And that's it. So what's the story for everybody who didn't hear, like real quick, if you could share, Manifesting the Mercedes?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I manifested a Mercedes a couple of years ago, I'm still learning and growing every day, and more insights are coming in, right? And so, like, literally, I had a vision board. I put like 4 or 5 different crossover cars on there, because at the time I didn't really care. And because I worked in the car industry for 12 years, I drove all kinds of cars, like a car is just a tool. Like I don't attach a ton of value to it. It's a tool. It's nice to have, but I just, it's not a status symbol for me. It's nothing like that. It's just a great quality product, so that was one of the things I put on the vision board, probably visualized it a couple times during the year. And then fast forward, come at the end of the year, my uncle was in town. And when I was working for the rental car company, they gave me a company car, a brand new car every year. And so when I left, I was just driving an old minivan. And like I said, I didn't care. I was a stay-at-home mom at that point, just putting around. My uncle comes in town and he was like, Thuy, this, he tells my parents that car is not any good. You need to buy a new one. So they ended up buying me a Mercedes. And literally what I had to do with that Mercedes was just, I had to say yes, and I had to accept it. And so that was a big lesson for me, was allowing people, allowing and receiving. So that was a huge lesson. Yeah. And then as I fast forward now, I think about it, I'm like, of course I know how to, what it feels like to drive a Mercedes. I worked for a Mercedes dealership for 3 months. I drove Mercedes every day. I knew the feeling, I know what it feels like. And so of course it makes sense. And it's kind of funny because now in my coaching, I've coached probably about five or six women to manifest cars now. And I think 3 of them have done it for free. So yeah, some of them have bought it for just the right price, just the right whatever. But it's interesting that I worked in the car industry and I manifested a free car, and now a handful of my clients have manifested cars too. So it's pretty cool.
Love it, love it, love it. Thuy, what is your big, because the program is called Dream Big with Zhanna, right? And inspiring you to reignite, refine, and refuel your life. What's your big dream?
I worked so hard at corporate, and honestly, my big dream is, it's not that big as far as I just want time freedom and money freedom to spend with my family. It's about the experience that we have in life. And I've gotten to a space where every day is a gift, and making the most of every day. And I love teaching people about money. I love being with my children. I love, I just got back from Colorado. All my sisters went to surprise my brother for the weekend for his birthday. Wow. But it's about having time and money freedom to do those things and to experience life, and just touch people and teach them how I do it. And I want everyone to have that same ability, whatever it is that they want.
I love that. I love that. So you just touched on the subject that I love so much. You said that you're a mom and you love to have the time for your family. In your opinion, it's not, and then we'll switch back into money manifesting. In your opinion, what is the role of a parent and what makes a great mom or a great parent nowadays?
Oh, I think, honestly, one of my favorite books is the Seven Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. He also has a version for kids. There's a kid version. Mm-hmm. But for me, I want to encourage them to be happy, to follow their heart. I want them to have compassion and kindness, personal responsibility and ambition. That's my role. However I have to teach them that is how I do it, and whatever it is they want to do in life, they can be completely abundant, I'm here in, the internet space, right? I can teach them how to sell information. That's not a problem, So I want them to, ultimately, I want them to be happy, and I'm going to give them the resources and the thoughts and that's the role of a parent, is to be happy, to teach your children to be happy and pursue their dreams.
Love it. Love it. So, secrets on money manifesting specifically. Let's tackle that. What are, how would you like to do it? Would you like to, something that whoever is watching can actually implement right now? We could do the visualization. We could do whatever you think is more effective, and some of the secrets from you.
Well, okay, so this is something that people talk about all the time, right? But it's one of those things about, I think the number one thing about money, and every teacher who teaches about manifesting is going to say this, there's nothing new, but it's important. It's about appreciation and gratitude, right? And if you want to manifest more money, you have to see how much money is already in your life. So one of the things that I have my clients do right away, because the accountant in me, I've got an MBA in accounting, right? So I'm very that side of the brain too. The accountant in me is going to tell you, look at everything that's already in your life and keep a tally of it. So for instance, I manifested, after the checks in the mail, I manifested a lot of free coffee. People give me coffee all the time. But you look at it and it's like, if I get a cup of coffee every day and a cup of coffee is $3 to $4, that's $3 to $4 every day that I'm richer that I didn't realize I was, right? So you start to tally that kind of stuff up that you implement right now and see how rich you are. Like my husband back then. Go ahead.
You really need to write it down or just keep it in your head?
Either or. I like writing it down, because when you write it down, you start to tally it up in your head. It's like, oh, grateful, whatever. But I had in my own Facebook group, we did, I think it was a month of just tallying things down, and people would go on the thread every day and tally it. And they were so abundant. And, my then husband, when I had him do it, within 2 weeks, manifested $15,000 of free stuff, and his thing was, yeah. Well, it was really great, because what ended up happening was he had some friends that wanted him to come to Hawaii to go on a fishing trip with him. And he's like, no, I just, his belief systems were, I had to pay for that. I had to work for this. I had to pay for that. I've got a budget. When everything was said and done, he got enrolled into a tournament, his fee for the tournament, it was like a $15,000 fee, right? So he got that for free. He got, they paid for half of his plane ticket, which is like $500. They paid for his accommodations the whole time there and meals, and so because they wanted him so badly to come. So he manifested all that stuff. But his lesson in manifesting was he had to learn how to receive, right? He had to know how to say yes and not feel bad. Yeah. So that's
That's huge
Yeah, that's
for a
huge.
lot of
So
people. Mm-hmm.
the big secret is around gratitude and appreciation for the things that you already have or the things that are already there. So here's another fun story. Like one of my friends, I was teaching her how to notice those things too. And she was like, yeah, I was at a conference and, you know, my friend came up and gave me a rub on my back and it felt great. I'm like, oh, you got a free massage? That's great. You know? So it's those things. It's really shifting and looking at it in a different way, you know, and having, you know, so that's secret one, is that gratitude. And then if you can take it, you know, monetize it and put a dollar value to it, that's going to make you feel so much more abundant already by seeing all the amazing things that you have in your life already.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you. So practically, what we are taking with us, right now, everybody who's watching this. So secret number one is you start tally it up, right? So you write it down. And then see how abundant you are right now. That's secret number one, and be in gratitude. Any other hot tips that we can implement?
Yeah. So a big part of manifesting is noticing where your set point is for receiving, right? Or where your belief systems are around that. Like, do you believe that you have to pay for everything to get the things that you want in your life? Most
Well,
people do.
yeah, I'm not an exception. That's why it was really hard for me to receive for a long time. And now I'm not attached to how money and where the money is coming from. But I
Yeah.
have to disattach. Maybe, do you mind doing a visualization or around that if you can?
I don't know if I could do it around that specifically. You know, but here's the thing, like, let's do this. So let's visualize, because here's the other tip, right? Is manifesting is just like any other skill. It's something that you build on, right? So I can walk you through it. And what I want everyone to, like, here's an exercise that I want everyone to do, is start to manifest free coffee, right? So
I
literally,
personally do it by singing. You wouldn't like whatever. I sing to people and they give me free coffee. And then it just and I I did it for fun and I didn't do it to get the free coffee, but that's what ends up happening every single time. And people
yeah. So I kind of want to walk you through it. Like, close your eyes, right? And I'm going to walk you through different scenarios of how I actually get free coffee. You know, like these, and I want, because by putting this into your like field of, oh, this is how people can actually, how coffee comes up, you start to notice how it comes up, right? So go ahead and close your eyes.
all right.
You go ahead and sink into your heart. And it doesn't have to be coffee. It can be any kind of beverage that you want.
Yeah, well,
But go ahead and be in peace. And I want you to just visualize it. So go ahead and visualize. It's Monday and you walk into Starbucks and you're just standing in line, ready to order your coffee. Next thing you know, someone walks in that you haven't seen in years. And you invite them to come up in front of you in the line with you and you start chit-chatting. And both of you guys get up to order and the person says, oh, let me get it for you. And then in that moment, you get to say, oh, thank you. That's so great. Or you walk into the bank tomorrow and look, there's free coffee they give to all their clients. How about that? And you go up and you get your free cup of coffee that day.
yeah.
So it's literally, and so then you come out, it's like, okay, all right, universe, I'd like to see it come up like that or something better.
So yeah, or something better. I was gonna say, so it's not really, the idea is not really to get something for free. It's just to play and see how powerful you are in terms of creating your own reality. It's not about getting stuff for free, but it's just fun to see.
Right. Well, and then I would urge you to look at what's wrong with getting stuff for free and any beliefs that you have around that. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, but just to, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And it's
So no,
also
so that it really goes to, so it really goes to that mindset that I have to work for everything. Like the way to shift out of it is actually to get free things, not because we're not capable of paying for it, but to break away from the belief that we actually have to work for everything, that it can come in all ways and we're open to receive all of it. Right. So that's really what the exercise is for.
So what would you say? What would you say to people who want to manifest like bigger, maybe a certain amount in the bank? So what would you say to them?
So that comes with work. So one of the, like, because I continually like learn how to upgrade my manifesting skills and my creation skills, and I'm always studying, right? And honestly, one of my favorite books is the Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwene Gaines. And her last two laws is having goals and doing your life purpose. So that's where it is when you follow your life purpose in your heart, money shows up, right? So that's the thing. Like I have this course right now that I'm working, one of the girls in it, she's not a business owner, but she's a teacher. And she's like, I love watching children and it's easy for me to watch children. Next thing you know, she got 2 babysitting jobs, manifested 2 babysitting jobs that she loves. So it's not about, and so she said yes. And, and that's how money comes into you, right? So we're these powerful creators and these beings. And when we show up and we do our purpose in life, we do the action, do the work for it. And because we love it and it's easy, it doesn't feel so bad, right? So she manifested money in trade for her service of watching children.
That's beautiful.
So if you want to manifest more money in your life, what are you going to do to make that money? Because ultimately money comes from someone else's bank account, right? For a service that you provide. So whether it's a job and you go to a corporation and they pay you for the service and the time that you provide 8 to 5, or you have a business and it's a service that you provide, but literally money comes from you, from other people.
Yeah. Yes, we're all connected. I love that. So Thuy, how can we connect with you?
Best place is to find me on my website. My website is actually under construction right now. So what you get when you hop onto my website is you get a gift of a wealth in motion activation. And it's at thuymtran.com, which is spelled THUY as in yellow, M as in Mary, TRAN.com.
Wonderful. And we're going to post it. It's going to be on YouTube. This video is going to be on YouTube on Zhanna Shpits channel. And also in the description, you will see Thuy's email, the website where you can get that gift. And thank you so much. What's the gift name again? It's the money.
Wealth in Motion Activation. So it's the energy work that I do.
I love in motion. What's that? Wealth in motion activation. Why in motion?
And it's generally like for us to be in motion and doing and giving our gifts to the world is how we create wealth.
Yes. I love that. So at the end of each show, I usually ask every guest on what is this one gem out of your treasure chest that you can share with us, whether that's a piece of wisdom, maybe your favorite quote, maybe you actually generously shared the resources already. So it's been wonderful. So what is this one gem or maybe more? Break the rules, make more.
Yeah, no, I honestly, the biggest thing to manifesting is going for the feeling first, right? It's not about money. It's, money is really about the experiences that we want. Right? You go for the feeling. There's no reason why you can't already create that feeling now.
Yes, absolutely. And it doesn't, like, this is around manifesting. And if I could ask you about your wisdom in life in general, life, business, doesn't matter, which is not attached to the money manifesting magic, but just in general, do you have anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, if we really want to create the lives that we want, we have to be honest with ourselves, truthful with ourselves, and we have to do it fast. And then we have to be honest and truthful with everyone else fast, and have a lot of courage to make those changes when we decide that something isn't working for us anymore. You know, it takes courage to change your life.
It's speed of implementation. That's what you're referring to, right? So fast. Not everybody talks about it. Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Thuy. We learned so much, and it's been a pleasure to have you on Dream Big with Zhanna, inspiring you to reignite, refine, and refuel your life. And I hope we're going to see you soon for another interview around manifesting something else. How about relationships in our lives?
Oh, that's a good one. I just manifested the love of my life. So, yes.
Say yes to that. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon. That was Thuy Tran. Bye.
Thank you
Bye
for
for
having
now.
me. Bye bye.